Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you can hear me. We had a technical problem. Everything died. What happened there? What happened there? My magnificent assistant pressed the wrong button. Is the organ on? Is the organ on or is the organ on? In the middle of a piece of music. This is live, and this is what happens when you play live music. Everything falls apart. So the light was switched on and everything else went off. Give me this thing.
Ja, ist alles an?
Mm-mm.
Wirklich jetzt? Ich glaube, da ist was kaputt.
Nö, da ist nichts kaputt. In dem Moment, wo du C gedrückt hast, ist A ausgegangen. Keine Ahnung. Doch, leider. It's live, and that's what happens. This is what controls the electricity in this room. This button controls the light, as you can see. There you are. And at the same time, there are other buttons that control the organ electricity. Was hast du auch verloren? Hast du noch was verloren?
Ich habe dich die ganze Zeit nur vom Rücken.
Die Technik ist alles okay, oder? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Right. Oh boy, here we go again. Well, yes, it's live, so that means you get to watch me now fire the organ up, which takes a long time. Good evening, welcome back. These things happen. There's a word you can use, you say, happens, but I'm not going to use that word because that's naughty. But I suppose you get to see how the system works. As you see, my PC starts up, and it starts up Hauptwerk automatically, and then I tell it what organ I want it to load up, and it does that automatically. So while that's doing that, let me say hello, good evening, and welcome. So, who have we got? I was actually in the middle of playing a piece of music as a request. This was a very spontaneous request. Who was it for? Let me just check again. It was for someone from Atlanta. Who's from Atlanta? Who's from Atlanta? Bruce! It's Bruce Thomas. Hi, Bruce. We've played for Bruce before. Bruce has been around for a while, so thanks, Bruce. Waiting in Atlanta. Well, here we are waiting in Germany for the power to come back. These things happen, unfortunately. I suppose at least it happens during, at least the equipment wasn't switched off. That would have been fun. Oh my God, that would have been hell. We'd have lost you completely, or you'd have lost us completely. Anyway, so I was in the middle of playing something for Bruce. So I'll start that again in a minute once we get everything ready. So, who's watching? Well, this takes a while, as you can see. I've got you all on this old iPad of mine. This is my old iPad, and this nice new iPad here, this is Vanessa's iPad, and this is what I'm using to look at music for tonight. This was a spontaneous request for, like I say, for Bruce. Right, there we are. Now, I have to start from the scratch. Start from scratch. There we are. That's what we're starting from. There we go. This evening, for you, I have planned quite a few things. Now, part of the plan was to introduce this wonderful new organ, at least it's new to me. Now, this is Piotr Grabowski's magnificent sample set from this beautiful organ. I mean, look at that on the picture. Can you put up the computer screen, please? Mrs. Gartshore, thank you very much. Look at that. Isn't that the most beautiful thing you've ever seen in your life? It's amazing. This is a real organ in a real church in Poland. And it's called, I'm not very good at pronouncing anything Polish, but Święta Lipka. I have no idea if that's correct or not. If anyone's out there, then maybe you can correct us. I'm not sure if that's right or not. And it's a wonderful instrument. Now, looking at it, with its beautiful blue facade and gold and all these exciting things, you'd think this is the most enormous instrument in the world, but it's not. It's a two-manual 40-something stops? I can't remember, 30 or 40-something, no, it's only 30-something stops, I think. It's not the largest organ in the world, but it does make a rather wonderful sound. And I'm going to introduce it to you this evening as if we were visiting the church. Now, the organ is in Poland, like I said, but the organ itself is actually a German organ. It was made by Goebel. And make sure that's singular, Goebel, please. We're not going into that kind of history of Germany. So, yes. And this was an organ builder from Königsberg, which was at the time Germany. Now, this organ fares from the beginning of the 20th century. It's around, pretty much around the same time as my organ in Herschbach. And like my organ in Herschbach, it's got that kind of sort of sound to it, that lovely lots of 8-foot fat sounds, and it's rather lovely. So anyway, now you can change back the camera, please. And yes, I'll put that lovely picture back for you. And let's play some music again. Now, I was in the middle of playing a piece of music for, like I said, for Bruce. It's called I Bind Unto Myself Today the Strong Name of the Trinity. St. Patrick's Breastplate is what it's also known as, at least the tune is. And I was sort of meandering about on there, and I started off very gently. With rather lovely sort of sounds. Isn't that cute? And I built up to, where had I built up to? I better get back to my my crescendos here. I think I'd already built up to pretty much full organ already, hadn't I? I can't remember. Yes, we were there. That's how far we were. Let's start from there and we'll take it along. Get ready, it's loud. It gets louder. Now this is an amazing instrument. It goes from the softest, tiniest little sounds like you just heard at the end to rather an enormous sound. Now there's some great little things on here. The first thing you heard there was, well, this sound. These are the stringy sounds on the upper manual, and that is there's an octave coupler, which means when I play this note here, for example, the octave above is automatically sounding with that, and that's extended beyond the actual reach of the normal manuals, so that, you know, when I play up at the top end here, the extra octave pipes are already playing with it. Do you understand? You know what I mean. So I get this beautiful sound, this shimmery sound. Isn't that beautiful? Wow, beautiful. Absolutely brilliant. Now, there are some rather cool things on the Bildschirm, bitte. There are some rather cool things on this organ. Now I'm going to swap over to the view of the organ stops itself. Okay. Now you can see here on the Great manual, that's manual 1. Look how many stops there are on manual 1. I'm not going to count. Will someone count them for me, please, and let me know in the comments how many stops there are on the Great there, including the Glockenspiel. We'll get to that later. Now, there are some rather interesting sounds here. There's a normal flute, as you would expect, and that has a 4-foot flute to go with it. An octave higher. It even has a 2-foot flute to go there as well, a piccolo. Okay, so we've got all of that. Now, those are the sort of normal things you might find on an organ. Look at all this. That is only some of the 8-foot stops on this organ. So we had the 8-foot flute. Now, then there's something called a salitional. Pan lo mito is writing irregularly, asking for stops. Here's the salitional on its own. It's a rather sort of stringy sound, and if I have these strings here, that's a rather beautiful sound. Now, something here called, oh, Bruce, thank you very much. Bruce, it's always a pleasure to play requests for people, so thank you very, very much indeed for your generous donation. Bruce Thomas, over in Atlanta, Georgia. Thanks, Bruce. Back to the organ quickly. Here's the Gems horn. It's not a gems horn, it's a Gems horn, a hard G. And that's a sort of a, it's a very soft principal sound. Now there is a principal itself, an enormous thing. Which has an even larger octave, a principal octave. So, big stuff here. Now, all those 8-foots together that I have so far, those are the normal 8-foots you would find on any organ. Normal camera, please. Now, there are some other things here. There's something called a Schalmei 8-foot. Now, a Schalmei would normally be a reed stop, but this organ builder, Mr. Goebel, was very clever at taking normal flue pipes. What's the difference between a flue pipe and a reed pipe? Well, there's different kinds of pipes that imitate different kinds of instruments. Normally, a Schalmei would be a reed pipe, but it's not here. It's a flue pipe, and it's very clever. It sort of imitates a reed instrument. Which is almost like an oboe, I suppose. There's something called a labial clarinette, which sounds disgusting, but it's actually a clarinet sounding stop, but based again on a flue pipe. Normally a clarinet stop would be a reed stop. Sounds a little like a clarinet, doesn't it? It's very clever. Very clever. And then, one of the most interesting things on this organ is something called a Krummhorn. Now, a Krummhorn is normally a sort of clarinet-y sounding reed, but here it's something very, very different indeed. Something that's very bizarre in this organ is the 16-foot, I'm not going to go through everything, by the way, tonight, I'll bore you to death, but the 16-foot fagotto, a fagot, a bassoon, basically. This is a free reed, so like a harmonium reed. How cool is that? It's like an accordion. And to make it even more cool, you can add a tremulant to this. Isn't that cool? And it's 16 foot. A 16-foot free reed. I've never heard of that before. That's possibly one of the most exciting things this organ has. Now, it also has, of course, trumpets. Enormous trumpets. It has a 16-foot trumpet, so an octave lower. And both of those together huge sound. Now that's only on the great manual. Up on the swell manual, the second manual, we have all sorts of lovely things. Now we have those stringy sound that I gave you before. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that lovely? And I say you can add the octave to that. Ah, absolutely beautiful. Now, something this organ has that my organ up in Hirschberg also has is a flauto amabile, an 8-foot, is an open flute. Oops, sorry, take the super octave off. It's a very nice round sounding flute. Now, if you add to that the sound of the aeoline 8, that's the soft string sound, you get a very beautiful ethereal effect. Ooh, that's a lovely effect. Now, all sorts of things. There's a principal amabile there, so it's a very nice, very sort of fruity sounding principal on there. Now, I'm not going to go through all the rest of it because it's everything else on there is pretty much sort of normal. However, Bildschirm bitte. If we go back to the actual, if we go back to the screen that shows the organ itself. Now, if you watch my mouse moving around, you see lots of wonderful sort of angels and figures, figurines all over the organ, and you see all sorts of little things like bells in these towers and things. Well, Mr. Grabowski was very clever and actually managed to sample all of those things as well. Isn't that beautiful? Look at this, the Cymbelstern rolling around doing its thing. And if you're playing, let me add very quickly, add my trumpet here and go back. Hold on. If you press this one here called fanfaren, so fanfares, watch the angels with their trumpets. Down here in the middle. Look at this, angels with trumpets moving around. How cool is that? Those are all real things on the real organ, and Piotr took the chance and actually, did all of that at the same time. Right, now let's put all of that together in a piece of music. I think it's time we go back to real music. I had a few requests for this evening, and I'm going to wait. Just very briefly until someone maybe joins us this evening. I'm waiting for a chap called Jake Brower. Jake, are you watching? If you are watching, then please do get in touch in the chat, because I have something for you. But while we're waiting for that, I had a request this evening and I'm very sorry, but I can't actually find the request. I can't find who it was that requested it. So if it was you, then please do tell me. Please do tell me. Achso, jemand hat gerade geschrieben, kann ich bitte mehr Deutsch reden? Ja, bisschen Deutsch schadet auch nicht, oder? Bisschen Deutsch schadet. Wer war das? Hannes Hobbys. Hallo Hannes Hobbys. Und Joachim schreibt, täusche ich mich oder sind die Tastengeräusche zu laut? Nein, sind die nicht. Das ist nur, weil mein Mikrofon an ist und es direkt da ist. Das Mikro schalte ich aus gleich, wenn ich spiele, und dann hörst du nur, ach, Mr. Grabowski is here this evening. Piotr Grabowski is here himself. Hey Peter, welcome to the live stream. I hope you enjoy this presentation of your delicious instrument. I absolutely love it, and I'm very sorry I haven't presented it until now. I will, in the very near future, be doing a proper full-length video on just this instrument because it is absolutely unbelievable. It's small, but it's perfect. It's absolutely wonderful. Right, piece of music. This is for whoever it was for who requested it. It's a wonderful old piece of German music, actually from the week before Easter, so Passiontide, and this was requested. I think we'll start there. It's called O Haupt voll Blut und Wunden. So it's not exactly the happiest hymn in the world, but it's very, very beautiful, and it's going to work perfectly on this instrument. Oh, Fürst Otto von Bismarck. There you are. Fürst Otto von Bismarck. Hallo Otto. Schön, dass du da bist. Ja. Hast du das tatsächlich gewünscht? Hast du dir das gewünscht? Falls ja, jetzt ist es wirklich für dich. Oh, das war super Timing, aber hier ist es wirklich. O Haupt voll Blut und Wunden. Someone called Otto von Bismarck, I'm guessing it's not the real Otto von Bismarck, wrote and requested it. So there we are. This is for Otto. That was for Otto von Bismarck. Are you really Otto von Bismarck? I wonder. Cheers! Here I have my tasty beverage. Don't forget, a tasty beverage is always something very exciting. Now, this evening's concert is going to be brought to you entirely from this magnificent new organ. Let me put that wonderful picture of it back up. It's the most amazing looking instrument. I need at some point in my life to get to that part of Poland to see this magnificent instrument and play it for real. It looks wonderful, sounds absolutely magnificent. And yeah, I love it. So Piotr, if you're still watching, thank you very, very much indeed for sending me this organ. It's wonderful. I will be using it an awful lot in the future because it's perfect. You can do anything on it. Which brings me to something I need your help with. Let me get the headphones off for a minute. Umfragezeit. We're going to do a quick poll, and Mrs. Gartshore, that's Vanessa, she's sitting in the next room, armed with a little PC, and she's doing all the technical stuff in the background, and we're going to do a little poll, and you can do a poll on live chat as we are here. We're over 200 people already on live chat. Thank you very much indeed. Let's see if we can hit 500 tonight. Wouldn't that be great? We've never had, I think we had 300 once. We just touched 300 once. Let's see if we can get up to 500. Tell your friends, tell all your friends, family, colleagues, enemies, neighbors, everybody. Mothers-in-law, sorry. Tell them all. Yes, get them all here and let's get them learning about some organ music. Now, we're going to do a poll and I'm going to practice a piece of music for you for next week. And I was digging about in my music collection the other day and I thought it's high time I learnt a new piece of music for me. Now, there are some pieces of music coming up anyway for the next little while. We've got 45,000 subscribers coming up. If you haven't already, by the way, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up as you're watching it. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already and join the family. More on that in a minute. But I decided it's time I needed to get some, practice done again. And I'm going to do something completely different. So I'm going to give you the option between three composers. Three of the organ world's most famous composers. And the winner of that, it's not individual pieces, by the way, it's just composers. I will choose the piece. Because I have to learn it in a week's time, so there we are. This is basically to sort of force me into learning something for you. Force into learning it. So, the poll is between Widor, Vierne, and of course Bach. So, the poll is now up. Is the poll up?
Ja, schon lange.
Ach, schon lange, wunderbar. Okay, meine Frau hat es schon längst gemacht. Und, wer gewinnt schon? Okay, Bach is currently winning with 47%. 48%. Does it have to? Please don't make it be Bach. Please make it be Vierne or Widor. It's easier. But anyway, if Bach wins, I will learn a piece of music by Bach by next week. Oh my God. Yes. Now, I see my friend and colleague down in Australia is watching, Mr. James Flores. James, why are you watching? It must be like 6 o'clock in the morning or something. You should be in bed. So, yes, welcome along. Now, James posted something. If you haven't checked out James's channel, by the way, do. He's James Flores, okay? F-L-O-R-E-S. He's a wonderful organist from Australia. And James and I regularly chat offline and sort of catch up on the organ world and have a good old laugh while we're doing it. And James put up a video recently of one of his vocal groups singing a piece of Scottish music. And he then requested that I play this piece of Scottish music. So I'm not going to name it for copyright reasons. And I'm going to hide the melody at the beginning for copyright reasons. Everything I've posted in the past week has had a copyright claim on it, by the way. Although everything I play is public domain. So there you are. Work that one out. Pretty much everything I play is public domain. So this is a piece of music dedicated to James, but it's from Scotland. So let's see if you can work out what it is. Oh, by the way, if anyone's watching from Cologne, you will recognize it as well. Für die Kölner da draußen, das nächste Stück kennt ihr auch. How exciting was that? A long time ago, I lived in the city of Cologne, which is 100 kilometers north of where I live now. And during the time I lived in Cologne, I spent a bit of time teaching some of the guys who played for FC Cologne, that's the local football team. It was at the time in the Premier Division, and then it didn't sort of stay there for very long. They were in the Premier Division for a while, and they are again, as far as I know. And I got to teach a couple of the players. I got to teach them German, which is rather interesting, me not being German. But anyway, and I got to teach some of them German. It was great fun getting to know some of the FC Cologne boys, some of the players. And while I was there, of course, I also got to know Lukas Podolski. Everyone knows Podolski. And I taught Lukas Podolski a little bit of English before he went off to England to go and play there. So there you are, a little anecdote from my time back in Cologne. Why am I talking about Cologne when I just played a piece of Scottish music based around a body of water in the southwest of Scotland, just north of Glasgow? Well, because FC Cologne used that as their local hymn tune, as it were. So there you are. Now, there you are, James, that was for you. Now, I have a very interesting request. This is something I've never in my life come across before, and this is rather wonderful. My goodness, everyone's digging into their pockets tonight. Thank you very much for all your donations. Vielen Dank für die ganzen Spenden heute Abend. Das ist unglaublich. Danke. Wirklich schön. Meine Frau, oder nicht nur meine Frau, jemand hat letzte Woche geschrieben in dem Chat, was ist, wenn ich nicht bei YouTube spenden kann? Naja, wir haben auch was über PayPal eingerichtet, damit man auch da spenden kann, wenn man will. Also ich weiß, viele Leute mögen das nicht mit PayPal, aber viele Möglichkeiten haben wir nicht unbedingt. Aber ich glaube, hast du das mit PayPal, diesen Link? Kannst du das mal für die Leute einblenden? Dankeschön. For those of you who aren't YouTube members and would also like to donate something towards the channel, Mrs. Gartshore is currently putting up, there it is, there's a sort of PayPal donation thing you can do there as well. So we'll pin that up for a little while. And then I need to talk to you about something else in a minute. But anyway, back to this. This is a wonderful piece of music. Bitte? Wie viele? We've hit the 250 mark. 250 people are watching all at the same time. That's good. That's wonderful. We need more, though. We need more. We definitely need more. Now, this piece of music, let me see, have I got this here? Yes, I do. There it is. This piece of music is something I've never heard of before. And I'm very thankful to someone for sending it to me last week. Now, I'm not going to mention his name, but it's a guy who watches the videos regularly, our live streams. Gleiswanderer is his username. I'll do this in English first, then I'll do it in Deutsch for Gleiswanderer himself, because he is a German guy. And he requested something from a hymn book. Not a German hymn book, not necessarily an English hymn book, an international hymn book. And this is the hymn book of the Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, I have never come across any of their hymns before, and he sent me this one, and it's absolutely wonderful. Now, I'm guessing the translation would be Onwards Witnesses, or Witnesses Onwards, or something along those lines. And it's a great little piece of music, and I'm going to play a sort of an improvisation around it in a sort of march style. And you'll see what I mean in a minute when I start playing it. I'll play the hymn as it is written, and then I'll start playing around with it. Okay, Gleiswanderer, endlich kommen wir zu dir. Aus den Zeugen Jehovas Liedbuch kommt dieses nächste Stück. Vorwärts, ihr Zeugen. Also nicht aus dem Gotteslob, nicht aus einem englischen Gotteslob, aus dem Zeugen Jehovas Liedbuch. Das ist wirklich neu für mich. Und dieses Stück Vorwärts, ihr Zeugen, Text Lukas Kapitel 16, ja, ich gehe davon aus, dass es wirklich bekannt ist bei den Zeugen Jehovas. Und es ist ein tolles Stück. Ich kannte es gar nicht. Es ist sehr marschmäßig, zumindest denke ich, es ist sehr marschmäßig. Und deswegen werde ich was in diese Richtung damit machen. Vorwärts, ihr Zeugen. Onwards, witnesses, or vorwärts, ihr Zeugen. I've no idea if it's really called that in English. If anyone knows that and recognizes that, then do please let me know. What a wonderful piece of music. I'm going to do something with that because I think that's rather wonderful. I think I shall write something officially around that. Now, Jake Brower, and Jake Brower is, I don't think, watching us actually. If he is, he hasn't said it yet. Jake wrote to me with a rather wonderful request. Jake is an organist somewhere in America. And, Gleiswanderer, danke. Danke, danke. Jake wrote to me and asked for, hold on, I need to quickly get my, yeah, that looks good. Get my registration ready. Jake wrote and said in the upcoming weekend he has to play a piece of music for his church service. And I'm guessing it's some kind of, was it some kind of first communion or some kind of thing like that. And the bishop will be there, and I think it's a confirmation service, something like that. And he asked for some hints and tips around improvising around the hymn melody, Veni Creator Spiritus, so come Holy Ghost. So it's quite difficult to do that without automatically getting into what Durufle did with Veni Creator Spiritus. So the idea is he's going to be playing around with this piece of music in the background while the bishop does his, does his thing up front. And so it has to remain relatively soft. And I'm not going to remain relatively soft. I'm going to play around with it because I like playing around with it. And now, when I set up the organ earlier, I set up some registrations for maybe some variations around Veni Creator Spiritus. Now, if you don't know the melody, it's a beautiful melody. It's this. I dare say some of you will recognize that if you are regular visitors to the organ world or regular visitors to a church. So, a wonderful, simple old Gregorian theme, absolutely beautiful, and you can do rather a lot with it. So I'm sticking to soft stuff at first. I won't tell you what I'm doing, but you'll always be able to hear the melody somewhere. Sometimes it's in one of the hands, sometimes it's in both of the hands, sometimes it's even in the pedals. Now, I don't have a camera placed down at my feet today. I don't want you to see my ranky old socks. I'm playing in socks tonight, no shoes. But I don't have a camera set up for that. But you might, if you don't see my hands moving all that much and you can still hear the melody, it's because it's down in my feet. Right, here we go. Veni Creator Spiritus. This is for Jake Brower, and I hope you get to see this before the weekend. Veni Creator Spiritus. An improvisation on some very different sort of styles there. Let me show you what I did there, because there's a lot of funny sort of things I did. Or at least I thought they were funny. I don't know if you did. Joachim, du kriegst dein Video bei 50.000 Abonnenten. Das war schon versprochen. Also klick mal abonnieren und schick das in deinen ganzen Kollegschaften, die wissen, was zu tun ist. Joachim Wolf, by the way, this chap I was just talking to, is one of my neighbors in our little village here, and he used to work for an organ builder here in Germany. So there you are. Interesting stuff. Now, yeah, so we had a nice accompaniment at the beginning with the beautiful flute, which is great. And then I sort of changed that to a normal 8-footy sound on this manual. It's quite nice, by the way. Pan Lomito, who is commenting rather regularly with all the stops there, and he's mainly getting it right, so I hope that's all right. I'm using a lot more than you're saying there, but anyway. So yes, so we had that, and I kept adding to that to make it nice and sort of big and fat. Now, this is where the fun began, and I had that very gentle sort of, let me just play a chord here. And this is where I was using the pedals to play the melody. Yeah, that kind of stuff. So this is a stop called the cello. Which is rather beautiful on its own. Now I then beefed that up in the bass. So it's the cello, the octave 8 and the gedackt bass. And I had this rather nice accompaniment here. I think I played that in a different key, didn't I? I can't remember. I played it in C or G, I can't remember, G maybe. And then I had this boop, 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 as someone commented, doing this, yeah, on the manual there, which is a cute sound. It's just an 8 and a 2 together, not an 8-foot flute and a 2-foot flute, by the way, the 8-foot Gemshorn and the 2-foot piccolo. It makes the piccolo sound a bit brighter, so we had all that. And then I had something rather clever. And this is, I played the melody here. I didn't play the melody as one line. I played it in sixth. So I had the melody at the bottom and then a sixth above that. Whoops, which is something sometimes quite difficult to reach, as you may have noticed. Get it there. But I added the Schalmei 8-foot and the labial clarinette 8, and that gave this beautiful sound with the tremulant, by the way. The tremulant gives it a wobbly sound. Quite difficult to do that, as you may have noticed. And for some reason that was on 2 registrations together, which it shouldn't have been, which is why there was a bit of a hiccup getting onto the next registration, which turned into a sort of a big toccata-style-y thing. Gradually building up to full organ. So there you are. That's how you can play around with a hymn tune. Jake, I hope you're watching that. I hope that helped you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're running out of requests, but that's fine. We will always have more to do, and we still have some time. Now, advertising time. Mrs. Gartshore, are you ready for some advertising? Ich habe gerade gesehen, meine Schwiegermutter guckt heute Abend. Hallo, liebe Schwiegermutter, schön, dass du wieder da bist. Wir haben dich vermisst in den letzten Wochen. Aber schön, dass du da bist heute. Sehr schön. Okay. Meine Frau macht jetzt wieder ein PIN-Nachricht und ja, das geht jetzt schon wieder um unser CD-Projekt. Hier ist die alte CD, Piping Hot at the Organ, und wir arbeiten, beziehungsweise wir wollen arbeiten an einer neuen CD. I'm doing this in German first, by the way. I'll come back and do it in English in a minute. Wir wollen an einer neuen CD arbeiten und dafür brauchen wir eure Hilfe, um eine Startsumme zusammen zu sammeln. Nutzen wir eine Crowdfunding-Kampagne über Start Next. Da ist gerade ein Link da. Auf Deutsch nimmt ihr einfach dieses /an weg in der Mitte und dann habt ihr die deutsche Seite. Und dann könnt ihr eine CD vorbestellen, beziehungsweise CD mit Notenheft vorbestellen. Und exklusive Notenheft übrigens, die gibt es nur bei Start Next. Nachträglich gibt es die nicht, zumindest zunächst nicht. Ja, also je schneller wir diese Startsumme zusammenkriegen, desto schneller können wir dann anfangen mit der Produktion. Alle Infos, die ihr braucht, sind auf dieser Seite. Und ja, mehr dazu in den nächsten Videos. So, now we'll do it once in English again. Yes, we're working on our new CD project. I just had the CD in my hand here. Let me get it back. The old CD, Piping Hot at the Organ, which is still available on our website. And this time we're doing it differently. We're doing commissions. So 10 people have commissioned compositions, real compositions, based on themes, based on ideas. And we're gathering funds for that at the moment to get the production started. We're using, as you can see, a pinned link. Mrs. G has just put that up for you. Start Next, which is our, which is our crowdfunding site, and we need to get a start sum together. And until we get that start sum together, we can't start with the recordings, obviously, because the production costs money. And we're almost there with the start sum. We need, I think we're at something like 60%, so we only need 40% more, and then we're there with the start sum. But we've only got until the end of October to get it sorted. And if we don't get the start sum, then I get zero of that money that's in there, which would be kind of annoying, because the people who have commissioned the pieces of music that I will be composing then basically don't get anything. So that's not very fair. No, but we will get it together. I know we will. So get in there. Pre-order your CDs with music books, with sheet music. Now the sheet music is exclusive to this Start Next campaign. There may be in the future individual pieces that will be printed individually and things, but the piece of the book itself is a very exclusive item, limited very strictly to 100 copies. And it's not just going to be the music books, there's going to be the story behind the pieces, there'll be a little bit of blurb about the people who are doing what's going, doing the commissioning and what's going on in there. So very exciting stuff. Right. SB has said something rather unkind here. It's this kind of talking that stopped me from listening to the channel. Well, I'm sorry, SB, but I'm a freelance musician. This is my living. I don't have a regular daytime job, which you presumably do. This is my life. Live streaming on YouTube, and YouTube as a channel, and and making and recording CDs and productions. And like I say, I don't have a real job to rely on that helps pay the bills and do all that sort of thing. So, and I'm not asking for people's help just to put it in my pocket. I'm asking for people's help so that we can get a production made. Everything that comes in is going into the production. So I understand your comment, SB, but that's life. Okay, there we are. Enough of that. Enough talk about chat and money. Ken's back. Hello, Ken. What about an improv on the hymn tune Maccabeus? That's a nice idea. I don't have an English hymnal to hand. I have one in the church. What is Maccabeus? What is Maccabeus? This is spontaneous. Ken is a regular supporter of the channel, and for Ken, we will definitely do that. We will definitely do that. Hold on, I need the hymn tune, so yes. What is Maccabeus? What is Maccabeus? I'm sure I recognize it, don't I? Oh, thine be the glory. That's Christmas. That's Christmas, Ken. Let's save that one for Christmas time. Save that one to this one. Oh, sorry. We'll save that for Christmas. I've got something very exciting planned for the Christmas period, by the way. So more on that as we get to it. Wojciech, yes, of course, the CD is being sent internationally. It's sent all around the world. Finally, we have been able to we have been able to open up the world again. Corona has stopped us, or Corona last time, 2 years ago, or 18 months ago, stopped us sending things around the world, but that's all fine now. So yes, the CDs will be sent internationally, and of course they will be sent free of charge. Cheers. Something interesting that no one has requested tonight on this organ, but I know Piotr Grabowski has requested it, and this is rather bizarre that nobody else did. And I'm surprised Graham hasn't yet. Graham, are you still watching, by the way? I'm surprised you did. This is the kind of music that this organ is built for. Not just the churchy and classical music. You can also play jazzy music on these organs. And that sounds absolutely brilliant. Listen to this. Ha! I bet no one's ever played any music like that on that organ in Poland before. Isn't that wonderful? It's a brilliant piece of kit. By the way, someone has requested, or someone has asked, who was it that asked? Someone was asking, oh yes, it was Michael Verbowitz. Michael Verbowitz. Where are you from, Michael? How do the stops on the Hauptwerk work as opposed to an actual pipe organ? I see no stops or presets. Aha, they're disguised. Under the bottom manual, I have a row of pistons, and under each manual, I have two pistons controlling a sequencer, which controls the registrations. Now, I have pre-programmed all of these different registrations, obviously, and using various pistons, I can then call up those registrations and move forwards. Or, under the manual, I have different... Oh, that shouldn't be doing that. Why is that doing that? That shouldn't be doing that. Anyway, different combinations that I can pull up at any time. That's the plan. So there you are. That's how that works. Very exciting. So what do you think of jazz on Svieta Lipka? Am I pronouncing that properly? I have no idea. Sorry. Jazz, if Bach wins, can you play Trio Sonata number 525? Not in 1 week I can't, Jazz. Bloody hell. Absolutely not. In 1 year maybe, or let's say 1 month. A Trio Sonata from Bach is something that makes me go into a cold panic sweat, and no. Anything else by Bach, yes, but trios, oh God, no. Trios make me faint. There we are. Wie geht's unserer Umfrage?
49% Bach.
And then?
Bach hat gewonnen. Und dann Vidor mit 32%. Aber
okay, our survey says Bach at, wie viel?
49%.
Bach at 49%, Vidor at 33%, and Vierne at 19%. Nobody wants Vierne. Why does nobody want Vierne? Get voting for Vierne. Vierne's wonderful. Vierne, we could do, what could we do with Vierne? We could do this. That was by memory. I've never played that piece before. I've heard it so often I could probably call it. I don't know how it goes on after that. So anyway, it's something like it changes in the right hand and does things. So anyway, that's a piece of music by Vierne based around the sounds of Big Ben. Did you know that Vierne actually got it wrong? He was on the phone to Henry Willis, and Henry Willis sort of sang the chimes of Big Ben to him over the phone, and Mrs. Vierne wrote them down wrong. So the whole Carry On to Westminster is based on a mistake. Anyway, I bet you didn't know that. Someone, what about Vidor? If we requested Vidor, you could have this. Which I've never played before, honestly. That was just the basic melody. That wasn't the exact notes, obviously. That's sort of basically what it was. That's Vienne's 6th Symphony. I could do that in a week. That should be possible. Vidor's Toccata that everyone's requesting. You're getting that at 50,000, yeah? Now at 45,000, which is coming up very soon. You get Alain's Litanies, which is very exciting. Yeah, lots of exciting things to do. What about Bach? I saw someone requested, I can't remember who it was, someone requested B minor. How about that? How about Bach's B minor, let's say prelude? Maybe not prelude and fugue, maybe just prelude in a week. How about that? Is Bach still winning? Vanessa says, okay, let's do something like that then. How would that grab you? So that would be for next week. We haven't had any blues this evening, have we? And an organ like this is perfectly capable of playing something bluesy. So this is a little piece of blues on a Polish organ in a German village by a Scottish organist. How European can that get? Let's finish off this evening pretty much as we started this evening, with a simple hymn tune and a bit of an improvisation around it. Thank you very much for taking part in this evening's concert, ladies and gentlemen. It's always wonderful to see you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for supporting our work. Without you, none of this would be possible. I don't just mean none of this, I mean none of this, none of what we're doing at all. This wouldn't be possible. I'd be sitting in an office somewhere doing something terrible and being miserable. So yes, thank you very much for making my life absolutely wonderful. Oh, that's weird. Why is that lit up? Ah, there we are. Without you, none of this would be possible. So thank you all. I love you all. You're rather wonderful. And our Friday nights are sacred. How many viewers have we got, Mrs. G?
Insgesamt Aufrufe.
Ja.
2279.
Wow, over... Wie viel?
Aufrufe oder Zuschauer?
Ja, Aufrufe. Machen wir Aufrufe.
2279.
Whoa, 2,279 clicks this video has had tonight. Wow, that's the best we've ever had.
Und gleichzeitig waren 262.
But simultaneous, we only made it to 262. We need to get that up, people. Let's get it over 300 next week. We need to get it over 300. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close off this evening's concert with one of my favorite hymn tunes. I've played this in various occasions throughout the past. And because this organ reminds me so much of my organ in Herschbach, I think I have to play it here. It's just absolutely wonderful. It's my favorite Maria hymn, Wunderschön Prächtige. I love it to bits, and here it is again. That was Mrs. Gartshore yawning in the background, by the way, or was it her going, oh, not that again? No? Mrs. G is tired. Thanks for watching, folks. We will see you next time after this.